What's going on, everyone? Welcome to part 2 of our Revit intro tutorial. Today we're going to be getting into working with staircases, creating railings, whether it's for a staircase or a balcony, and also modifying floors and creating different types of roofs. If you haven't seen part 1, please start watching part 1 first before you continue watching this video. Otherwise, if you're just interested in learning how to work with these elements, stairs, railings, roofs, you're also welcome to watch. So without further ado, let's flip over to the screen and let's get started. So we're going to open the previous project that we started in the last tutorial, and you can just find the last thing you worked on over here, or you can always go on File, Open, and find the navigation for your project. So let's click here and open it up. And now what we're going to do is begin to work with the stairs first. So if we go on the Architecture tab on the ribbon and we click Stairs, we're going to see this Modify/Create Stairs tab come up. So there are several types of stairs that you can make and several ways you can go about making a stair. The most generic ones that you can do is using the default modeling tool for making the stairs in Revit, which you can select one of these. So let's start with this, the straight monolithic stair. So we're going to click. You could just make it like one straight shot, or another way to do it is to let's click, and then let's say we want it to turn. So we're going to have it turning, let's say somewhere about this point, and then we have it finish just like that. And we could begin to modify the length if we like to, and you could just change the extent, make it wider, make it a little bit more narrow. And another way, Control Z, another type of stairs, you have the spiral stairs that you can work on as well. First, you pick the radius of the stairs. So do you want it to be wide, narrow? And then it just finishes it that way. And this one, what you can do is likewise, you pick the radius, and then you have control on whether or not you want to actually add a riser. You can add a riser and then finish off the stairs. Maybe there's like a really strange condition over here and your stairs need to be this shape, but I don't suggest doing that. And you have other things such as the L-shaped one, and it's default. It specifies all of the risers, one model. And then this one is similar, and it just specifies everything. But the tool we're actually going to focus on today is the Create Sketch. And there are several ways to actually create your sketch for your stairs. You can, let's first go here. Let's cancel this. Yes. So there's several ways to create our stair sketch. So we could click modeling line under the architecture tab, and we could hit escape, or we could go on annotate and click detail line to actually draw it out. And detail line is something we're going to use later in order to begin to add some details to a very basic wall section. So here, let's click on modeling line. You can choose how you want to draw it. Do you want to use rectangles for your modeling line? Do you want to just draw it like that? For me, I'm just going to use the line tool. You're welcome to use any which that works for you, your design, or if you're following this design, however you want to approach it. So we're talking about a residential home. Let's make our stairs 3 feet 2 inches. And then let's continue. My floor to ceiling height is 10 feet. Let's say I want each of my risers to be 6 feet. So my rise over run, if we do some quick calculations right now, so 10 feet ceiling height, we know in each feet is 12 inches. So it's 120 inches floor to ceiling. And if we want our risers to be, let's say, roughly 6 inches each, we'll have to divide 120 by 6 inches to figure out the number of risers that we're going to need. So 120 divided by 6 will give you 20 inches, and the inches cancel out one another. Therefore, you're going to need just 20 risers. So we're going to need 20 risers in order to actually accommodate this. What we're going to do is divide it in 2. So we're going to have 10 risers on each side, and we're going to make this a U-shaped staircase. Let's begin to imagine our tread for our stairs is about, let's say 11 inches. 11 inches sounds good. So if we have 20 risers and each riser is 11 inches, 20 times 11 gives us 220. All we have to do is make it 110 inches on each side. And then we could close this. And let's hold Control and drag it to duplicate it. So this is how we want to make our staircase. And let's actually change the position of this window so it's not going to be in the way. So we're not going to have this here anymore. We'll try to have it between here and here. And let's push this back a bit. So let's select all this. Let's get rid of doors, floors, grids. We just want the lines. And let's make it somewhere here. Seems a bit appropriate. And we're gonna get rid of this window actually. And now we want to create the landing. So going back to modeling line, we're going to edit it like this. We want the landing to be the same width as the staircase itself. So 3 feet, 2 inches. There. And let's draw something there just like that. So now we have the shape of our stairs. Now what we want to do is add our risers. So what we're going to do is select this line. We can either copy this line here or offset it. What we're going to do is offset, and we want the offset to be not 11 feet, but 11 inches. So let's do it just like that. Then let's offset that, offset that. And then we have the first set. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Perfect. And now we want to do the same thing on the other side. So we'll select this line and you're under modify lines. And in here, we're going to find the offset command. And we're going to set the value of our offset here to 11 inches. So let's do it like that. And let's keep offsetting it. And here we have it. And we have the full range of risers and treads. So I just want to modify the space in between here just by a bit. This is 3 feet 2 inches. This is 3 feet 2 inches. And that adds up to 6 feet 4 inches. And we want about, let's say, 6 inches in between both set of stairs. So we want to change the total length to be somewhere around 6 feet 10 inches. So what we're going to do is adjust the length. And the way we're going to do that is going on the architecture tab, model line, 6 feet 10 inches, which is somewhere about there. So that means we need to just line up this edge with this edge over here. So let's select everything here. And then go on filter. Let's get rid of these. We're going to select everything, hold control, and we're going to, let's actually deselect this by holding shift, and let's move this over. We'll line it up right about here. Let's line it up with this, so it's right about there. And now what we're going to do, you could delete this line now. And now it's 6 feet 10 inches. And if we measure it, we have it right here, 6 feet 10 inches. Perfect. We're actually going to change this to wireframe so we don't keep selecting the floor. And if you're running to that issue where you're constantly selecting the floor, you can go here. This is the display modes, and we could change it to wireframe so we're no longer selecting the floor unless we click the outer boundaries of the floor. So let's select this. We can just, move it a little closer to the wall if we want to, or technically we want to have it against the wall. So now we've made our sketch for our staircase, and we want to just make a quick adjustment because we calculated this to be 6-inch risers, but then we have 2 extra treads here, so there should only be 10 treads on each side. So that's a slight mistake. Let's delete that quickly. Let's move this up, move that up. Now we have our 10 risers on both sides. So another quick thing we want to do is actually click on the stair. Under architecture, click on stair. And we have to remember that the default is set to the 7-inch max riser and 11-inch tread. We want to do 6-inch risers with 11-inch treads. So we have to go on edit type, and we're going to duplicate it and create our own. So we're going to change the 7-inch risers to 6-inch risers, and we're going to name it like that. And then we're going to go into settings, and we're going to name it, change the max riser height to 6, and let's also change the width because we made each of them 3 feet 2 inches. So let's hit OK, and now we have our new type. So now we can click sketch, create a sketch. So we're going to go on the line picker tool since we already drew our stairs, and we're going to select the boundaries for our stairs. Remember, this is part of the risers. This is not part of the boundaries for your staircase, so do not select that. Now we could click on riser and select the line picker tool as well, and likewise click everything that we want to be accounted for as a riser. Now 20 risers created, 0 remaining. That's how you know you fulfilled everything. And now the last thing we have to do is click stair path. So we want to actually draw out our stair path. We have not defined that yet, so we're going to draw out our stair path. So starting here, we're going to draw something there. Let's also draw something going here so we have it on center. And the next thing we want to do is also have another one going on center. Let's have it maybe somewhere here. And have it like that. With our boundaries, risers, and stair path defined, all we have to do is hit the check mark in order to create our staircase. So let's do it. And what we can do is, if we go on 3D and let's set this to wireframe, we can see that our staircase has been created over here. Let's say you want your stairs to actually go in the other direction and not in this direction. So pretty simple. All you have to do is, let's head back to the ground floor plan. So if we want our stairs to go in a different direction, there's 2 ways to change it. We could just first check. So we could select our stairs, go on mirror, and draw our mirror axis like this in order to mirror the staircase and have it go up this way. That's one way to do it. The other way is to click this icon to flip the direction of the staircase. And now we have it going up this way. And now that we have our stairs drawn out, we just need to make a few modifications. The first modification we want to make is actually to this right here. So if we go back here and we orbit by holding shift and panning, we can see that there's a railing against this wall. We don't necessarily need this railing because the wall acts as a boundary for the staircase. So how do we get rid of this? So we have to double click on it, and we're gonna actually do this from our ground floor perspective view. So we double click on the railing, and we just have to literally delete it. And then we hit check, and when it goes back and creates our railing, and we go back to the 3D view up here, now we no longer have the railing, and it's simple as that, getting rid of it. Let's go back to the ground floor view, and actually we're also going to open the west elevation view, and let's change this to wireframe as well. So now what we want to do is select our stairs. So we're going to go on filter. Let's get rid of anything that we don't need, like the levels, stairs, stair support, walls, windows. Yeah, so we only need the staircase. So there's a new feature in Revit 2018 that allows you to automatically copy stairs to multiple levels. And we're going to return to this view in just a second. So if we go back to our ground floor plan, let's select everything, and we want to go on select levels. So we're going to go to our west elevation view, and we want to actually connect it to multiple levels. So let's select these 2 levels and hit check. And now our staircase is automatically connected to these upper levels. And if we go to our 3D view and we begin to take a look at that, let's orbit, we can see that the staircase is placed and it's aligned and it's automatically connected to these levels. Not too sure why it didn't connect here, the railing. We can fix that in just a second, but first I want to show everyone, let's say if you don't have Revit 2018, how do you just copy it? So the best way to copy it in that case would be to, let's undo all of this, let's hit X, and now let's go back to our floor plans. We want to select everything, and let's hit Control C on our keyboard, go to the next level, hit Control V to paste it. And now we have it on this level right here. And then we want to go to this level now, and we want to hit Control V for pasting, and we're going to use this corner and we're going to paste it right here, exactly where it needs to be. So now we have each of our staircase on all succeeding levels, just like that. So that's what you can do if you don't have Revit 2018. That's just another way for you to copy it on multiple levels. So now that we have everything copied on each level, the next thing we have to do is actually make the hole in the floor to accommodate for these stairs. So how do we go about doing that? So let's go on the second level floor plan, because this is the first cut we need to make. And actually what I'm going to do, for the sake of clarity, I'm going to delete the stairs that I copied, and then we're going to copy it back afterwards. So this is where the headroom begins to peak into the second level. If we count 10 risers up, each is 6 inches, that's 5 feet off the ground. Try to keep the headroom around 7 feet. So the best way to maintain that headroom is to begin drawing the cut for the stairs somewhere around, let's say this is 5 feet in terms of height. So this would be 6 feet, and here would be 7 feet. So now when we go on, let's actually go switch to shaded view. Not shaded, sorry. Let's actually go and switch to hidden line. And now what we're going to do, we're going to select the floor. And now let's click Edit Boundaries. So with the Edit Boundary tool, going to allow us to draw out the headroom that we need. So we're going to go on Boundary Line, and we're going to start here. Let's draw it up to, let's line it up just about there. Let's go down here. And we're going to have it come around. We don't want too much headroom, but we want just enough. So we're going to just have it, this is 6 feet, 7 feet. So we're going to have it line up here and have it go here. So with this, all we really need to do is go and trim the paths. So the way we're going to trim the paths is clicking here. Remember, we select the ones that we want to keep and we click Unjoin Elements. So then now we have this, and this path got deleted. So what we're going to have to do is draw the next one. We're just gonna have to draw this to complete it. And now we have our new shape, and when we click the check, we click no once again, and now we have our cutout into the floor, and now you can see it just like that. We want to add handrails around here because you don't want anyone accidentally falling into this area. So what we actually have to do is click handrails, and you just need to define where you want it to be. So same thing with the stairs, we just draw the path for the handrails. And what I like to do is actually just offset it. So we're going to draw along the edge, but we're going to have maybe like a 3-inch offset like that. But we want to flip the offset. So we want it to be -3 inches. So let's draw it like that. And the next one, it will come this way. And we want to make sure these two lines join. So let's align it like that. And let's hit close sketch, and now we have a basic generic railing. Let's take a look at it. So if we go here, you can see we have a basic generic railing. And in another video, I'm going to begin to get into how you can start to modify the appearance of the railing and create your own custom railings using Revit Family or by importing a model. So we're going to repeat each of these steps on the next 2 floors. So just take the last few steps that we performed and apply it to the following floor if you have a following floor on your project. So now with each of those things drawn, we just have to copy up the staircase to the next level. We're going to go and select levels. We're going to go on the west elevation. I'm only going to select this level. Let's copy it up to that level and hit check. Perfect. Now let's go back to our 3D view. And now once you have each of those things drawn and you have your floor outlined, oops, I missed one area right there. Let's do that. For the attic and gym, we have to have a railing here because there isn't another staircase that continues upwards. So let's do that quickly. We have our generic railing baluster. And we also want to apply this outside as well. So let's do the same thing outside. We also want to apply a baluster on the terraces as well. So let's start off with the bedroom level. It's a huge terrace right here. Let's do that quickly. So now what we're going to do is go on the trim tool, select, trim it that way. Select, trim, select the lines you want to keep. And we have it. Now let's hit check. Now we have a generic balcony drawn out. And it lines up with the edge quite nicely. And now we're going to do the same thing on the attic and gym level. So we want the same offset, 1 inch from the edge. And now we have our other baluster. So if we go to the 3D view, let's actually change this to hidden line. And we can begin to see it. So far, so good. Remember, this isn't really a design tutorial, but more so understanding the basic principles of how to use the different components of this program. So now the last thing we're going to do is the roof. So now let's go over to our roof layer, and there is 2 interesting ways that you can do your roofs. Once again, go on the architecture tab and we're going to click on roof. First things first, I'm going to show you a super generic roof. So let's create a overhang, maybe of, let's say a 1 foot overhang. And what you're going to do, similarly to the other inputs such as stairs and creating the floor, we're going to click pick walls. So we want each of these walls to be part of our input for creating this roof. And you don't necessarily have to do the overhang, but typically some roofs like this would have overhang. So I'm just doing it for this example for consistency's sake. And this is our generic roof, but we can make this a lot more interesting. Take a look at this. So let's actually go back to the floor plan, and there's a few things I want to explain. So we can actually just delete it and go on the roof input one more time. So for this building, I really want to do a slope roof, and there are many ways to do that. So technically, if you think about it, even a flat roof is never completely flat. There's even a slight slope to it. So what we want to do is first, we want to do the pick walls like what we did before. And I want to just point something out. You may notice that each of these sides have this slope. This slope symbol means that each of these sides of the roof is playing a part in affecting the slope, which is why you have the roof bending this way, bending this way, bending this way. We only want one of them to define the slope. So what we want to do is hit modify to cancel, and holding the control key, we want to select each of these. So let's say we want our roof to slope this way, and what we're going to do is hold the control key to select each of these other sides of the roof. And up here, we're going to uncheck define slope because we do not want any of this side of the roof to have a role in defining the slope of the roof. So we're going to uncheck that, and from there, we want only this to define the roof. So this is a crazy slope, 9/12. Maybe your Revit has like a different interface. Let's say you have decimals for degrees, or you have something else. The way you can toggle between the fraction and the degrees is by going to manage. And then under manage, what you're going to do is go to project units. And in project units, you could go to the length or any which one of them, and you can change it to decimal and feet. And that way you can begin to get the decimal or the degrees for the sloping roof. Or if you prefer using fractions, you can leave it as that. And here you can also change the units for these other components as well. So if I go to slope, I could change it here to decimal degrees. And that way I can have degrees rather than the slope for my roof. But then for the sake of consistency, I'm just going to leave it as it is. I just wanted to show you how you can change that. So we're gonna hit cancel and we're gonna go back here. So let's click here one more time and we're gonna change it to something to maybe a quarter slope, so 3/12. And with 3/12, we are going to hit check. So now in order to see it, we have to go to the 3D view. And still, this is a really big slope. So what I might actually end up doing is, let's hit undo. Let's click this side. Let's pick a slope, maybe 1/12. And let's hit check. And that looks a lot nicer. You might notice if you're doing a slope like this, maybe your walls automatically connect. But if your walls do not automatically connect, what you have to do is go on. You could do it from this view, but it might be easier to select from the elevation. So what we're going to do here is highlight each of these walls. Let's go on filter. We don't want the grids to be part of this selection. And what we want to do is click attach top to base. So after you click that, click where you want the walls to attach, which will be the roof. And if we go back here, it's going to attach. And even if we change this slope again, so if we go here, let's go on edit the footprint and we click here on the slope, 4/16 or something, it'll constantly attach itself to the top of the roof. And that's just one way to create a slanted roof. But let's say we want to just make this a little more interesting. There's still something else we can do. So let's click the roof, click edit footprint, and let's make one, let's see, let's select this side and let's click define slope. So this is 9/12. Let's change this to something like, let's say 4/12. And let's click the check. And it's going to begin to affect the shape of the roof, because now this is causing this part of the roof to slope downwards. And likewise, you can do it. You can also begin to mess around with it, and you can have any side really begin to play a role in the sloping of the roof. I can even do something like, let's make this 2/12, and let's say I make this side play a role in the sloping. And let's make this, instead of 9/12, let's make this 4/12. And let's hit check. So there's a lot of interesting things we can begin to do. And we could just make our design a little bit more compelling. But those are just a few ways to do your roof. Me personally, what I kind of like is actually, let's check that. To me, this looks pretty good. So I think I'm going to actually leave my roof just like this. So that's it for this part of the tutorial. We went over making stairs, how to modify the floor to accommodate for stairs, adding railings, and also different ways you can go about making roofs. Make sure once again that you save this project, because in the next tutorial, we're going to continue to build off of some of the things we covered today. So doing all these things together is going to be so helpful for you to understand the program. Stay tuned for the next tutorial.